Hi everybody, this is Boog-ass Reviews, and today I'm going to be doing a review on the brand new Neca Ultimate Universal Monsters Kemp House Invisible Man figure. So before I start this review, I do want to give a huge shout out and thanks to the last toy store for this. This is where I got this. I haven't seen any other place have this up for sale yet, so please check them out. So now, before we take a look at the Invisible Man, let's go ahead and take a look at the accessories that he comes with. So first up, he comes with a set of fisted hands. Up next, he comes with a set of open hands. Up next, he comes with a right pointing hand. This is probably how I'm going to leave the figure displayed after this review. Up next, he includes another alternate right hand for holding the fire tongs and the fire tongs. Very, very thin accessory, but it looks really good. Up next, he comes with this tighter open hand. This is for holding the bandages that he comes with. Up next, he comes with the bandages for each of these hands. And he can hold them decently well. Despite these not actually being accessory holding hands, he can actually hold them decently well. I just wish that this would have lined up a little bit better to make it look like he was taking the bandages off. But overall, I think it looks pretty good, and I'm surprised how well he can hold them despite them not actually being accessory holding hands. Up next, he comes with his stack of science books. You get the Advanced Chemistry and Physics. And the words are printed on here, and that looks really good. I like the little bit of texturing you get down here, making it look like the book has been well read. I think that looks really good. You can even see the pages sculpted on there. You can also see the lab experiments and scientist's handbook there on the binding of the rest of the books. And these look pretty cool. You get the standard head sculpt, which I'm going to leave on the figure, and this looks great. The glasses, the wrappings, everything looks really good. The texturing on the wrappings looks really nice. You get the little, I don't think they're called pins, but the stuff to keep his wrappings together. Those are painted on there. And he has a very subtle wash. It's almost like a cream color wash over top of the bandages. And that looks really good. Neca did a very awesome job on this head sculpt. Up next, you get the head sculpt without the glasses. Again, looks really good. Has that really cool wash to it. And some really cool texturing. Up next, he comes with another head sculpt. This time it's where the bandages are loosely wrapped around him. It's from when he's having the conversation with Kemp. You can see that the wrappings are a little less uniform than this. They're wrapped really tightly on this head sculpt, and they're a little loose up here. I think it's really awesome that Neca included this as a head sculpt. Up next, you get the head sculpt with the looser wrappings, but this time without the glasses. Again, it looks really cool. You get a bunch of different display options with this figure. I'm really happy with how many alternate heads come with this. Up next, he comes with this head sculpt with the bandages unraveling right there. And this looks fantastic. Neca did a very awesome job on this. It's actually hollow on the inside so you can see through it there in the nose and eye holes. And that looks really good, especially if you put it with the open hands and him holding the bandages. That looks very, very awesome. The only downside to this head sculpt is that there's no ball joint up in the head. Well, because it's hollow. All of the other head sculpts have a ball jointed head and neck. But not this one, of course, since I said it's hollow. But it looks phenomenal. Neca did a really awesome job on this. And finally, you get an alternate piece for right here. So right now, this is the ascot. So you just have to pop the head sculpt off and pop this out. You can actually see that his button-up shirt underneath is sculpted on really nicely. I was surprised that they sculpted anything since you're not really going to be seeing under this. And then you can put the striped shirt underneath here. So you just have to line that up. You can see there's a tab right there. So you just have to line that up like so. And then you have yet another look for this figure. I'm very happy that we got two different neck pieces right here, or clothing pieces I should say. That looks really awesome. It adds even more display options for the figure. So now, let's go ahead and take a look at the rest of the figure. So taking a look at the rest of the figure, I think Neca did a phenomenal job at sculpting it. The robe looks really good. The wrinkles that are sculpted on actually look realistic. You get a little bit of variation in the paint there. It's very subtle, but you do get some variation there. And you get some sculpted on texture. You can really tell that texture right there when it hits the light. So yeah, this looks really good. Neca did a very awesome job on that. Now, I do think it's kind of odd that on the plaid right here, they printed this on down here on the tie around his waist. So this is printed on, and you don't get any sort of paint up here. It would have been nice if there would have been some paint up there. And then you get solid paint for the collar the pockets, and then around his forearms down here. So it is weird that they chose to print this on down here and then solid paint up here. I actually think the solid paint looks better for up here. It doesn't look bad, it's just a little weird because you can see the difference because this is slightly pixelated and this came out a lot more crisp. Even though you don't see a lot of the shirt coming out from underneath the robe right here, they painted the details on really nicely. You also get some really good sculpt detail to the gloves right here. I can't tell if it's cast in light brown and has a dark brown wash over top of it, or it's cast in dark brown and has this light brown painted over top of it. But either way, it looks really good because you get some variation there. That looks very good. And then looking at the legs, they even painted the details on his pajama bottoms on really nicely. If you look, you can see that they actually painted all of that on there. You really don't see anything from here up. So they wouldn't have even had to have painted that on there, but they did. So I do appreciate them doing that. The only bad thing is because of this, it's kind of like a vinyl type material, it does hinder all the articulation in his legs. I mean, you're not going to be getting him into a bunch of crazy poses, but the articulation is pretty hindered from the waist down here. So now, let's go ahead and go over his articulation. So he has a ball-jointed head and neck on all of the head sculpts, but the unraveling one that can look up that far. He can't really look down at all. He can move side to side, but then you can see this piece down here shifting side to side. He has shoulders that can move out that far. He has single-jointed elbows that can actually bend in very, very far. They're kind of deep-cut joints, so they can bend in pretty far. He has swivel wrists that can move up and down, and side to side very slightly. On the fire tongue holding hand, you actually get a hinge. He has a ball-jointed waist that can move back that far. He can't move forward that far. He moves side to side, but that sounds horrible. He doesn't move around that much. He has ball-jointed hips that can only move out that far. He can kick forward very slightly, back barely at all. I can't get the thigh swivel to move. He does have thigh swivel, but I can't actually get that to move. He has single-jointed knees that are only going to bend back that far. And he has ankles that can move down very slightly, up very slightly, and barely any ankle rocker. So now, let's do some size comparisons. So first up, here he is next to the first Invisible Man figure that we got from Neca. And the odd thing about this is this one is actually taller. So it's the same person, but you can see how much taller he is. Here he is next to Frankenstein. Here he is next to Dracula. Here he is next to the Phantom of the Opera. Here he is next to the Mummy. I'm really excited to get that second release. I believe it's coming out sometime this year. Here he is next to the creature from the Black Lagoon. Here he is next to Count Orlok, a character that is very in right now. And finally, here he is next to Vincent Price. So overall, I would highly recommend picking this up because Neca did a phenomenal job on it. This is the look that I've been anticipating for quite some time. I'm actually surprised that it took this long to get this particular look for the Invisible Man. But now that we have it, I am very happy with it. The amount of accessories we get and the way you can recreate different looks from the film just really surprised me. Like, Neca did a very awesome job on all of the accessories on this. The only drawback is the articulation. From the waist down, he pretty much doesn't have any articulation. He is articulated, but the robe is such a material that it really limits it. But other than that, this figure is very awesome, and I would definitely recommend picking it up because Neca did a really awesome job on it. So that's my review. If you like this review, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.